Boss channel. Thank you guys for the continued support, man. This is a story that has been trending on social media, and it's a big one out of the NBA. So we know the James Harden thing. If you don't know, now you will know because I'm about to explain it to you. The James Harden situation, obviously James Harden requested a trade a while back. They didn't grant it to him. The Houston Rockets told him, hey, man, we willing to get ugly with this. And part of the reason why James Harden and Russell Westbrook, who they granted his trade request, part of the reason why these guys requested a trade was because they didn't like what the owner was what stood for, right? A lot of players on the team didn't like that the owner was a Trump supporter. There was reports that came out, and it played a role in this. It played a factor in both of them wanting out. Not to mention that they didn't want to play with each other. That they like each other as friends. They're still friends, good friends, been friends since they were teenagers. But they didn't like the style of play when they were on the court together. And then we saw the mass exodus. D'Antoni was out. He's put out. Daryl Morey, the GM, was put out. So the head coach, GM gone. The two stars went out. They get rid of Westbrook, bring in John Wall, and now James Harden is left. And James Harden still is standing strong on not wanting to play for the Rockets this year. The Rockets said, to hell with you. We're going to keep you because we just can't get equal trade value in sending you out. So that is the story behind the Houston Rockets. So what James Harden does when his team is reported for camp, right? Like they're practicing, they had a preseason game, like they're getting ready to play. James Harden is out partying. First he goes to Lil Baby's birthday party, gives him $100,000 a Richard Mille watch in a Prada bag, like, and he's shown at the parties, clubbing, whatever, no face mask, no nothing. You know, the NBA is real strict about that kind of stuff. So he doesn't go. So then he takes a jet from Atlanta and Lil Baby's birthday party and goes out to Vegas and parties and throws some, makes it rain in the strip clubs out in Vegas and partying and living life. And then he finally reports to Houston. But during the midst of all this, his head coach, the coach of the Houston Rockets, I don't know how much longer he's going to be James Harden's head coach, Stephen Silas, who was their first-year head coach. He's a black man, and he's got to answer these questions like, where the hell's your star at? And he's like, man, I don't know. At this point, it's annoying, and they're getting tired of it. He didn't know where James Harden was at. But Twitter, of course, will find out because he's out partying, making it rain in Vegas and in Atlanta. So fast forward to some people that have take problem with what James Harden did, and that is Steven Jackson. That's where Steven Jackson comes in. We all know Steven Jackson played in the NBA like 15 years, won a championship. Now he's really into social justice. He's really into black advocacy. Steven Jackson is B1 all day, every day. Steven Jackson is for black people. He might not always have the best approach, right? Like for whatever reason, people will call him controversial, whatever, but he's black first, man. That's all that matters. And that's what matters to me. And that's what should matter to you. The fact that Stack 5, Stack Jack, Steven Jackson, and Matt Barnes, shout out to Matt Barnes, but really Steven Jackson is black first. And he's going to keep it all the way 100 with you. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. He's going to give it to you raw and uncut and just how he feels. And he's never been one to hold his tongue. So this is Stack 5, Steven Jackson, host of All the Smoke podcast, NBA champion, played in the NBA for like 15 years. This is him and his comments, because you got to remember, Steven Jackson played in the league, right? Steven Jackson is coming from a person who played in the league, who had success in the league. He was a successful player, played 15 years. And this was his thoughts on James Harden and what he's doing to not just to the Houston Rockets, but to the black head coach, the first-year black head coach.
So James is trying to continue to be around close to D'Antoni so he can't be held accountable. And then again, what type of dude is you? The Rockets finally get a young black coach get an opportunity, and you don't want to show up to camp. You don't want to play for him. How that look? And you wonder why every time a black coach get a job, they put him in a bullshit situation. Look what you're doing. What a real one would do is go play for that black coach and make him look good and build with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. Some real ones. Obviously, you want to chase rappers, maybe.
So that was Stack. And here's another video of Stack talking about James Harden and the situation that's taking place in Houston. This is Stack 5 as well.
James Harden did not like the owner of the team. The owner was on bullshit. Newsflash. All owners are on bullshit. Okay? All owners on bullshit. And how the owner on bullshit, James? He been paying you all this money and y'all ain't won shit. So he ain't on bullshit. He just want what he paying for. And that's some championships, some wins. I don't want to hear nothing about he don't like the owner, he don't like the man, damn all that. He ain't gonna run no organization, regardless what organization he go to. Every owner's gonna be on bullshit. Every team he go to, the owner gonna be on bullshit.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me.
And that was the previous video. So Steven Jackson brings up some interesting points, right? He said that the owner's on BS, right? And that's the truth. Think about it. The NBA has one black owner. That's Michael Jordan. And so what do you mean by owner on BS? He's a Trump supporter or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. You know, like that's going to be the case. And 90% of the owners in the NBA probably supported Trump, right? 75%. So it didn't matter. Stack saying it don't matter what team you go for, whether he supports Trump or he's a Republican or he don't really care about the Black Lives Matter movement. It's going to be like that. Most of the teams you go to is going to be like that. Not only that, you're not going to be able to run any team outside of Houston. James Harden, for those who don't know, James Harden as a player, has the most control of a team than any player in the NBA. He has more control over the Houston Rockets than LeBron has over the Lakers, than Giannis has over the Bucks, than Steph Curry has over the Warriors. Like, James Harden dictates their practice schedule. James Harden chooses what they do, chooses what takes place, chooses when he wants to show up. Clearly, like that's the known around the NBA. And so that's just the case. Now, in Stacks, what Stack goes on to say is like, man, you should be wanting to help this young black brother, right? Because now what he's saying by chasing D'Antoni, James Harden, originally it was reported that he wanted to go play for Brooklyn. D'Antoni is now on the Brooklyn Nets staff. And so he wants to go play there, try to win a championship. Now, it's two sides to this coin, right? Like, I can't just be all on Stack's side, but Stack makes some very good points. It's like, man, even if you want, here's my thing. And Stack saying you should go want to play for the young black coach, play with John Wall, Boogie, and all that. And I get it. I get what he said. I also can understand James Harden wanting to trade, right? Like, Boogie and John Wall ain't going to win you a championship. James Harden's in the business of winning championships. He's literally done everything you can do in the NBA. He's won an MVP. He's won multiple scoring titles. He's averaged 30 points a game several times. Like he's done all of that. He wants to win now. Now, whether you think James Harden can win as a lead guard or as the lead person on the team, that's your opinion. Like, that is what it is. I'm not so sure if he can, but, that's beside the point. The point is, if you want to request a trade, there is a way you go about it. There is a way you go about it. Your teammates shouldn't be hearing about what the hell's going on with you. They're down there practicing and training camp, getting ready to play games, and you out in the strip club throwing ones and making it rain, paying somebody tuition. That's not how they should be finding out what their teammate is doing. Even if you don't want to be in Houston, you are still under contract. You still are an employee of the Houston Rockets. It don't matter what your owners own. Like Stack said, it don't matter. The man, you want a $200 million contract. You still got $100 million left on this deal. You owe it to the Houston Rockets to come play. You owe it to be there. And not just to be there, because you got 3 years left on the deal. Not just to be there, but for them to be finding out. It's one thing to hold out, right? Like, there's one thing to hold out. And we've seen that in sports all the time. We saw Ezekiel Elliott held out in Cabo, this and that. But to be making it rain on a world tour during a global pandemic while your teammates are down practicing is a totally different level of disrespect. Especially after you told John Wall's on record saying you told him you were looking forward to playing with him and being down there in Houston. Now, James Harden is reportedly back in Houston and has to pass 6 consecutive COVID tests before he can touch the floor. But beside the point, man, this was just all about looking. I'm with Stack on this. Like this was ugly, James. You could have went about this so much better. And you got this young black first-year head coach having to answer for all this craziness that you got going on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on James Harden and his stripper world tour or cross-country tour that he did from Atlanta to Vegas and now finally reporting down to Houston Rockets camp. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsey Jr. with the Black Boss Channel. Be sure to subscribe to the Black Boss Channel, hit the notification bell, and you can follow me right there on Instagram at JLightsey7, and I'll see you guys next time.